Hello again from my front porch. Well, the winds of change are blowing. Well, at least the winds outside are blowing. You might hear the windows rattling here a little bit. It is a very blustery day today, as Winnie the Pooh would say. But really, there are some changes coming up. Biggest one of which is tonight, I get to meet my son, Alex, at the airport here in Des Moines. He's coming back from California, not just for a visit either. He's moving home. He's called an end to his California dream for now, and he's going to get himself firmly established back here in Iowa, get a good job, some good money, and kind of get his life solid there. And who knows? Then he may wind up going back out to California once he has some pocket change, if you will. We'll see. But for right now, the big change is my son is coming home. Woohoo! I'm looking forward to that. I haven't seen him since last September when my daughter Ashley had her wedding. That's the last time I saw him. Granted, I haven't seen my daughter since then either. She moved to Florida, so gotta do something about that soon too. So anyway, that's a big change happening. That my son Alex is coming home tonight. That's gonna be exciting. Another change that is going on is coming up here later this year. I turned the big 50. Now I'm not really concerned about it. It's not like I don't want to get old. I just don't see myself as being that age. In my mind, I am still much younger. And so when someone says, "Oh, that's the age you're going to be," I'm like, "Oh, really?" But I had a coworker who, with the best of intentions, I'm sure, said, you're going to be 50 this year. That's really great, because when you turn 50, that's when you qualify for the AARP card. Really? You think this is going to make me feel good? That you're telling me this year I will qualify for an AARP card, and that's supposed to make me feel good? Now, she was bragging because of the discounts and stuff, and apparently she uses it all the time. And I've talked to others who use them, and they say that they're fantastic to have, and but again, I don't see myself as being that old. So I'm certainly not old enough to have an AARP card yet. Now, another change that has happened, and this is one that I was really actually kind of excited about. You might think it's a minor thing, but to me this is a big deal. It's been a 2-year battle. Back when I got divorced, my ex-wife and I, we had 2 bank accounts. We had a Wells Fargo account. We had a Bank of the West account. Now, she was a Wells Fargo employee, so she had what they called a team member checking account with Wells Fargo, because Wells Fargo will only direct deposit your paycheck if you're an employee there to a Wells Fargo account. Imagine that. So she had that account. I had a Bank of the West account because I worked at Principal downtown Des Moines and in the 801 Grand building, and there is a Bank of the West bank in the lobby of that building. So I had a Bank of the West account that my money from Principal direct deposited into. So we had these 2 bank accounts. Now, by the time we were getting divorced, neither of us still worked at those places. And so we just had these bank accounts that still carried through. Well, when we divorced, I let her have the Wells Fargo account, and I took the Bank of the West account. Now, the Wells Fargo one, she closed and started a new one, which made sense because she wasn't a team member anymore. So, that would make a lot of sense. Bank of the West, I went in and said, okay, I'd like my ex-wife's name removed. Here's the copy of the divorce paperwork. I'd like my ex-wife's name removed, because you see in the divorce paperwork, it says, I get this account. And Bank of the West looked at me and said, nope, that's not the way we do things around here. Nope. What we do is we close your joint account, and we will open you a brand new one under your own name. And I said, nope. That's not the reason I wanted the account. See, when we had the 2 accounts, pretty much all of the bills got paid from my account, and then we lived off the money in her account. And so I have all the bill pay stuff set up, and all my bill paying history is in the Bank of the West account. So call me naive, call me stubborn, call me old-fashioned, whatever. I wanted to keep my account, but I wanted it to be just my account. So I say to Bank of the West, I don't want a new account. I want this account, and like the divorce paperwork says, it's now my account. Take her name off it. They say, nope, can't do it. We can't do that without a court order, and apparently the divorce paperwork does not qualify. So I went back to the divorce court and I said, hey, guess what? Bank of the West says they can't do this without a court order. So could I get a court order, please? And lo and behold, the judge says, absolutely. And he gives me a court order that specifically says that Bank of the West is to remove her name from account number such and such. No problem. Take it into Bank of the West, give it to them. They go, oh, okay, well, thank you very much. We'll get to work on this. Heard nothing, heard nothing, heard nothing, heard nothing. Months went by, and frankly, it wasn't, top of the list, and I didn't even really think. I thought I gave them the paperwork. It's going to be taken care of. Until I'm talking to Bank of the West on the phone about something, and they say, are there any other signers on the account? And I say, well, there shouldn't be. And they say, are you sure? And I said, well, if there is, it would only be so-and-so. And they said, yep, that's the other signer. And I'm like, really? Still a signer on the account? So I went in, I talked to them again, and they said, well, yeah, see, we have to close the account. I said, but I have paperwork here. Well, let me take a copy of that, and we'll run through. I did this 3 times over the course of 2 years. Finally, I get a call recently here from a gal named Portia, who's a banker at Bank of the West, says she wants to visit with me about my accounts and what they can do to help me. And I'm just chuckling, thinking, well, I have no money in my account, so I'm not sure what you could do to help. But I went in to meet with her anyway, and I take along the paperwork because I said, okay, now, I've been fighting this I tell her the whole story. And she's like, oh, that's really interesting. And she says, well, I can take the paperwork and I can see what I can do about it. I said, okay, if it helps, tell your folks that at this point, Bank of the West for 2 years has been in violation of a court order. And if I have to ask again, I'm going to ask for a lot more than just a name being removed from a bank account. And she looked at me and pleasantly smiled and said, I think that will help. And lo and behold, a week later, she calls me and says, guess what? So now my bank account is my bank account. So to me, that's a big change, and I'm happy about it. And thank you, Bank of the West, for only taking 2 years to comply with a court order. I'd love to see them give me that much time to comply with instructions that they gave me. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I have to get going because I'm doing a training session this morning. One that got, I've been doing training now for 20 some years. And I don't get really worked up. I don't get stressed about it. I don't get nervous in front of people. But this session today, I have to admit, I am a bit stressed about. Now the topic, no big deal. It's teaching our safety managers at Waldinger. I'm teaching them virtual presentation skills for presenting in a virtual web kind of environment. The problem is they're all meeting right now down in Florida. And I'm here still in Des Moines, Iowa, and I'm going to teach them virtually on the virtual skills. So I'm expected to model and demonstrate all of the skills that I'm teaching about as I'm doing them. So I have the 2 things to worry about: the facilitating the meeting, the facilitating the training like I normally would, and being self-aware enough to know that I am constantly doing the positive, right example things so that they're getting a good example from me. That's a lot of pressure, causing me just a little bit of stress. So, so I need to go and make sure everything's all set up for that and get that done. Fortunately, it's in the morning, so it's going to be done fairly soon. But, I'll be glad when it is done. All right, so with that, I'm going to let you go, and I will see you next time from my front porch.